Hello students, I welcome you all back to this YouTube channel of mine, English with Ease. And I am Shyam Panchal with you here. I'm going to give you this lecture on behalf of Taksh-shila Model Senior Secondary School. So students, today we have a lecture for class 9 CBSE and the topic is informal letter. So students, let us first of all discuss what writing is. We have a question, what is writing? Writing is an art. A good piece of writing always attracts its readers. We have various types of writings for various purposes. We have letter writing, we have paragraph writing, we have essay writing, we have article writing. Sometimes we write messages to people, sometimes people need to draft invitations, people need to draft replies, people just need to put out advertisements for business purposes and for the promotion of their products, right? So all this includes writing, right? And each piece of writing is written for a specific purpose. Today, the type of writing that we are going to discuss in this lecture is informal letter. So before we discuss informal letters, let us just take a look at letter writing. What is letter writing? Letter is a short communication which is written to satisfy a specific purpose. Letters basically fall into two main categories. First is formal, second is informal. What is a formal letter? A formal letter is a letter which is written for professional or business purposes. Business purposes, you might have seen people writing letters to various companies and firms, right? A company or a firm writes a letter to another company or a firm for requesting information, for placing an order, or for complaining about a particular product, right? So this is called what? Business letter. So, and then second type of letter is official letters, right? And these letters are written to particular officers, right? People or officers who hold some particular offices. For example, if you have some issues regarding electricity in your home, what do you do? You just write a particular letter, or you write a specific letter to this specific person. And who is that specific person? This is the SDM of electricity department, right? Or J of electricity department. So when you have any problem regarding insanitary condition in your area, you write a letter to the municipal corporation, right? So we have certain letters, and these letters are written to different people according to the purpose, right? So now we have informal letters, the letters that we are going to discuss in this lecture today, right? Informal letter. An informal letter is quite different from a formal one. And how are they different from formal one? We will discuss these points here. First of all, a formal letter should be written in a very simple and direct language, right? While writing a formal letter, we should maintain a formal tone, right? Because we are writing to a person who is just senior to us, or we can say who is just holding an office, right? Who is in charge of some office. So we are supposed to speak to that person in a very formal tone. Whenever we are face to face with such people, we always use a very formal language, right? We do not talk to them in a language which we use among our friends, right? Then first, the language should be formal. The vocabulary or the words that we are using while writing this type of letter should be very easy, right? Means easy to understand and interpret, right? When we are writing these type of letters, the recipient must understand the language that we have written, and it should not be very lengthy, it should be very concise, right? Using very few words, we need to give the the message we want to convey, right? This is called formal letter. So in formal letter, we do not write lengthy content. The language should be easy and concise, right? And it should be understandable to the recipient. Whereas in informal letters, which kind of letters? Informal letters. In informal letters, we maintain a very personal tone, and we can use what type of language? Informal language. How is formal and informal language different? Let me just give you an example. I am writing this letter with reference to or with regards to. This is a statement made formally, or this is a formal statement. But I am very excited I'm very excited when I sit to write a letter to you. I hope that you are in the pink of your health, or you are in the best of your health. This is a very informal statement, right? While writing your letter, if you just use words like sorry and some other exclamations, right? So this is a very informal language which we basically use with our friends, right? Not with the people, with the officers, or with the people who just hold some offices, right? Or with some business people, or with some professionals, right? So this is the only criteria on which we just differ the formal letters from informal letters, right? Now we have informal letters. Informal letters are written to acquaintances, like family, friends and relatives, and people who are very close to us. And these people can be our colleagues, and can be some professionals as well, whom we are quite familiar with, right? So whenever we are writing to these people, we use a very personal tone, and we use a very informal language, right? So now here we have a question. Why do we write informal letters? Informal letters are written to, as I told you, friends, family and relatives, right? So an informal letter is written to thank someone, to invite someone, to congratulate someone, right? And to apologize to someone, and to ask for information from a friend or from a relative, right? And to tell somebody about your feelings, about your emotions, about your success, right? So for all these reasons, we write informal letters, right? So here, now we will come to know how we write informal letters. We will just take a look at the pattern, at the format we use to write an informal letter. So this is informal letter that we are going to discuss today. So how do we actually write informal letters? Is there any particular format that we follow? Yes, there is a format. It is called a pattern, right? Though there is not a particular format, but there is a pattern, a general pattern that people usually follow, right? But informal letter can be written in many ways, right? So here we will just discuss a general pattern that is usually followed. So what we do, first of all, we just write the address. What do we write? We write the address. Where do we write the address? The address is always written on the left hand side of the page at the top. Right? Where is letter written? Where is address written? Address is written on the left hand side. Suppose this is the margin of the paper, so we just write address here, right, on the left hand side, and on the top. Now, why do we write this address, and what is the use of this address, and whose address is this? These are a few questions. So this is the address of the sender, of the writer. Suppose if I am writing a letter to my friend, this is an informal letter, and I want to invite my friend to a function which is being organized at my home, right? So what would I do? I would just write my address here. And what is the use of this address? Why do I need to write this address when I am writing the letter? This address is usually written so that the person, if he or she wants to reply back to me, he or she can reply back to me or write back to me at this address, right? How to write this address? This is also an important thing to be discussed. how to write. So always try to write this address in 3 lines, 3 consecutive lines like this. For example, B56. Let me just write an imaginary address here. B56 Indra Enclave, Karol Bagh, New Delhi. This is how we have written a letter, an address in 3 lines, right? So this is how you just need to write the address. After address there comes the date, and make sure that you need to just leave some space before writing the date, and then you have to write the date. And in which format the date is written, I will tell you here. So how we can write the date? Date is always written in this format. For example, this is 30 May 2020. So this is the format for writing date. Do not use this kind of format for writing date and all, right? Neither this nor this. These 2 formats are not used in letter writing, right? Once you have written the address and then you have written the date, there comes the 3rd thing, that is called the salutation. What? Salutation. Make sure you just need to leave some space even after writing the dates. So salutation. What is salutation? Salutation means greeting someone, right? Greeting people. Whenever you're writing to your friend, you just need to greet your friend by saying something like dear Amit, dear Sumit, respected sir, right? We use these kind of things. So respected sir, respected ma'am, dear sir, dear ma'am, we use these kind of greetings in formal letters only. But in informal letters, when we are writing to our friend, the greeting is different, the salutation is different. Okay, now let me just tell you how the salutation changes from person to person, right? If you're writing a letter to your friend, you just address your friend by saying dear Amit, dear Sumit, dear Raj, right? But when you are writing a letter to your father, mother, brother, uncle, you just say dear father, dear mother, dear brother, dear uncle, right? Suppose if you're writing a letter to an elder person, a person whom you respect greatly, how do you just address that person? You can address that person saying dear Mr. Aman Agrawal, dear Mr. Suresh Singh, right? So you can write salutation this way, right? Salutation differs from person to person. So here I can write dear Raj. This is what I have written. This is the salutation. I'm writing this letter to whom? To my friend Raj. So one more thing, you just need to maintain this margin of the paper. Your address, your date and your salutation should be straight. I mean, they should be close to the margin of the page. It should not be like that. You have written the address here, then you have taken your date here, and then you have written the salutation here. It should not be like this in total chaotic way, right? It should be in a perfect order like this, right? And then there comes the introductory paragraph. What is an introductory paragraph? Introductory para. An introductory para is the opening sentence or the opening sentences for an informal letter. And what is that you write in that kind of in that introductory paragraph? You just need to ask the recipient about his or her health, whether he or she is in good of his or her health or not, right? You just can begin this introductory para by saying, I hope that you are in the best of your health. Or it's really been a long since I have heard from you, right? Where are you, right? So like these kind of sentences, you can use while writing the introductory para, right? So this is the first para, which includes the body of the letter. Here we begin the body of the letter. So body of the letter begins with para number 1, that is the introductory para, and then there comes the para number 2. And what is there that we write in paragraph number 2? In paragraph number 2, you have a free hand to write whatever you have a free hand to write how much you can write, right? So as in formal letters, we cannot write extensively, we cannot write very lengthy content, but here you can write lengthy content, right? So you just need to express what you think, or you just can tell the reason why you have written the letter, and you just can give the information which you want to give to your friend, right? So whatever the purpose for you have written the letter, you just can explain that thing here in paragraph number 2. One more thing, you can use informal language, right? There is no need to write formal sentences, and you do not need to maintain a formal tone. Then there comes the paragraph number 3. Paragraph number 3 is the concluding paragraph. What kind of paragraph? Concluding paragraph. In concluding para, you just need to write what? In concluding para, you need to conclude or sum up your letter. You just need to tell the reason why you have written the letter to your friend or your relative or your mother, your father, your brother, right? You just need to summarize the things which you have mentioned in the body of the letter. Just take a brief summary, right? Consisting of only 2 or 3 lines, right? Once you have written the concluding para, there comes at the last the subscription. Subscription or the complementary clause. So before we write complementary clause, there is one more line which is to be added to concluding para. And this line is specifically to ask the recipient to write back to you, right? This shows that you have a very good relationship with the receiver, or this shows that you are quite excited to be in contact with the receiver, right? So students, at the last, once you have written the body of the letter, there comes the subscription or the complementary clause. Complementary clause is a phrase which you just mention at the end of your letter. This phrase can be best wishes, yours affectionately, yours lovingly, and with regards, right? So these are some of the phrases which we use to end a letter, and this is called complementary clause. If you are writing a letter to your friend, you just can use, or you just can say with best wishes, right? If you are writing a letter to your father, you can say yours lovingly. If you're writing a letter to your brother, you can say yours affectionately. So from person to person, this complementary clause differs, right? So students, here we have discussed the informal letter and the pattern for writing informal letters, right? And once you have written this complementary clause, then you can write your name, right? So this is what we have discussed today. This is an informal letter that we have discussed today. And now you can see a solved question on the screen, right? And this solved question will help you understand informal letter better. So students, with this, I just take a leave, and I'll be back very soon with a new lecture. Thank you.